Bam. Welcome, guys, to Results Driven by RW. Thank you guys for being on. Of course, I am RW. Got a great guest tonight. Going to talk about some good stuff. I told you guys I was going to start bringing on some of my multi-millionaire friends to help us, to guide you, let you know where they started from, also our relationship, because it's interesting as you go along the way, you run to people that are on their way up too. And this gentleman that I'm going to bring in tonight, he's one of these cats, man, I got mad respect for. I'm going to introduce him properly here in a few moments. But real quick, you know how we do. Let's go through our little housekeeping here. And first thing is, let me pull up my little PowerPoint. Richard, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you on from good old, my favorite place in the whole world.
I'm doing pretty good.
Good to see you. Is wifey there too?
She's on her way home from work.
Oh, well, that's a good place for her, man. That's what you do, man. You got to keep her working, man.
Yeah. I got out way early.
Well, good. Well, guys, as we get started, first thing I want to do is get somewhere if you can, take some notes. There's going to be some bombshells dropped on tonight showing you, for those of you that are getting ready to jump into your commercial space, I'm directly talking to you tonight. I brought a professional, real estate professional, a millionaire real estate professional that I know is going to be able to help you, adjust you, and get you where you want to be. So you want to take some notes. Also, if you can and you're able, put your camera on. I want to see your beautiful faces. Now, some of you, I know you're running and ripping, so I totally get it. Some of you are going to have to check this out a little later. But if you can, get your teeth, get them out that little jar, put them in, and let's get ready to go to work. I want to see those smiling faces on tonight, all right? Next thing is ask questions or make comments in my chat. Matter of fact, do me a favor. If you would, guys, open up my chat. Let me know your name and your business, and let me know where you're hailing from. So if you would open up my chat, I'm going to wait a few seconds for you to get in my chat. Get my chat. Let's make sure, I got to make sure it's working, guys. Got to make sure it's working. Is my chat working tonight? Your name and your business.
Yes.
Let's put it all in this, pop it in there. Perfect. Let's go. All right, guys. Also, too, there you go. My chat's working. I see it up and running. Do me a favor, if you could, I'm going to have you unmute as you're called upon. We're going to have a little bit of a monologue from our guest, and then we're going to have some dialogue to kind of dive in so you guys can ask questions directly from someone that's I want to call him the guru in his game, in his space. And definitely excited about him being on board tonight. But before we get to him, of course, guys, I want to hear about this week's wins. I need about 2 quick wins. Who had some wins this week? And the reason I do this wins, for those that are new and just getting tuned in, is because I am dealing with nothing but a bunch of rock stars. And rock stars always focus on what they did wrong, but never what they did right. It's amazing how we can focus on one thing we did wrong 50 million times and overlook all the good things we did. So real quick, if you would, open up my chat a little bit. I want to hear, what are those 2 wins? What kind of wins you got going on tonight? All right, I've voluntold. Something good happened this week. What good happened this week? Okay, I see some stuff in the chat. All right, Marquise, what happened to good this week, man? I know something good happened this week. You got to tell me something. All right, Delshana, go for it. What you got?
Am I speaking? Can you hear me?
You are. Go.
All right. 2 things really quick. Number 1, I interviewed for a promotional position at my current job. So that was amazing. But my real success this week was I was able to lay out my next book, type up the information for the 30-day devotional, and get this bad boy ready for the self-publishing process so it can be released in the next 60 days. Woohoo!
Excellent. That is amazing. Looking forward to seeing that thing up and running. Hey, also too, guys, next month, we're going to be show you how to write your first book. And it won't be just a book, it'll be a pamphlet. And we're going to show you how to get your pamphlet, ebook, get all that stuff out there. Delshana has written multiple books. So she's going to be our teacher, and I'm going to be able to write my first ebook by next month. So, well, actually this month. We're actually doing it this month. So we'll get those dates out to you guys. Those are here in Vegas. We want you to come and be a part and enjoy with us. Robbie, what you got, Robbie? Give me one quick win. I got to get a quick win. The taxes are popping right now, girl. I know you're out there popping, making all your money, but give me a quick win.
A quick one. Okay, so I've made a plan for this weekend to go out and do some more advertising because of course, I have these postcards that I made, so I'm just gonna go in different neighborhoods and put them everywhere. How about that?
Beautiful, beautiful. So we're on our marketing game, and I like that when you're marketing like that. That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about. Good job, good job, good job. All right, I see some more stuff coming in my chat. All right, Tiffany, good to see you, good to see you, good to see you. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get ready to spotlight real quick. I wanna thank all you guys that came and you were a part of our results-driven strategy session for real estate. I hope you enjoyed it. I know there was a lot of great comments, a lot of great conversation, and some knowledge that was passed down. So thank you guys so much for being a part of that session. On tonight, our tonight's topic is going to be on commercial real estate. And tonight I brought in a massive bombshell of a guy. I've known this guy, and if I can go back a little bit, our kids played Pop Warner together. And now our sons are 25. I know mine's 25. I can't remember how old Kevin is, but man, they grew up literally. We met in Pop Warner, and both of us was on the grind, on the hustle. He actually had his doing loans at that time. I had my mortgage office. He came in the doors, and we chopped it up. And I mean, just a good guy, single parent. Now, fast forward, owns his own brokerage, owns his own company, CEO, multiple $1 million properties, just bought a beautiful $1 million property. And I tell you what, my friend, a good guy, you guys gonna really enjoy him. Do me a favor, clap it up real quick for my friend, Chris Jackson. Chris, I'm gonna give you the floor, but before I do, man, I had to let them know where we come from, man. They think that what they see and what they hear is what we've been doing, but not realizing that we've been through some things together, man. I mean, I remember when we first met on, was it the football field or was it actually in my office? I can't remember.
It was a football field, yeah.
How long ago was that? That was what, 15 years?
It's got to be like 15. Yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
15 years, man. And this guy is a guru in what he does, owns his own company. Chris, you know what? I want to toot some of your horn a little bit, but I'm going to let you talk a little bit about yourself and get into what you got tonight. I'm going to also give you the share button so that way you can share, because I know you have some things you wanted to jump on with. And so right now, man, I'm going to release the floor. I'm going to give you the spotlight. Guys, welcome my friend, Chris Jackson, who's going to get us some great and powerful information on how to make this work. I'm moving myself out of the way. Chris, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, first off, I appreciate you having me. And I really appreciate the good introduction. Just to kind of recap, we did meet 15 years ago, and I think we had a great time raising our kids on the football field. They loved the athletics, and it was a great time giving back to the community, meeting good people like you. And I mean, we're connected still to this day because of that. So I look at it as just a great experience, But as Ron kind of told you guys, I was in the loan business, and I moved to Nevada to do loans. And I'd never been in business before, brand new to business. I don't know anything. And the market fell apart. So I'm like a sales guy without a product. When life punches, sometimes it punches hard. So I told myself, I go, I'm gonna overcome this. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it. And I'll shorten my background, but inevitably I got into commercial real estate. And so I've never been a residential realtor, never sold a single home, condo, duplex, fourplex, anything that's considered residential by a bank. I've never personally sold it. On the personal side, however, I have bought and sold before. So I'm extremely sophisticated when it comes to residential investing, but my expertise, as Ron kind of indicated, is in commercial real estate. So my company is North American Commercial. I built it from the ground up to service great people, great investors. And in my industry, not everybody's honest. I hate to say it, but they're not all honest. They're out for themselves. They're out to make a buck. And I'm probably one of the few people in town that's different. We're a very ethical firm. And I treat my clients how I would want to be treated if I was 70 years old. And I'm called young to anyone who's 70, right? Even though I got all this gray, I treat them good. And just today I had a client fly into town. We've worked together for 10 years. And he says, hey, I'm coming in $6 million. It's unexpected money. So it's just all it's all good where I'm at in life. I want to give you 3 million to go buy something for me. And whatever you decide is what's good for me. And so I consider that the most humbling, instead of my ego getting out of control and I'm like, I'm the man, I'm more humbled by that success because it came from 10 years of doing what I say, saying what I do, being there for them late at night. And the guy walks in and says, yeah, just go buy me a $3 million property. Whatever you say is how I roll. Instead of him telling me what to do, I'm basically telling him. So it's, just awesome stuff. So anyways, before I move any further, anybody have questions about my background, who I am, anything in general you want to throw out there before I get started? I don't know if I can even see everyone on group text. Ron, are they able to ask questions if they need to with me, or? You're on mute, by the way.
My bad. You know what? What we normally do is I'll let you go ahead and do your monologue, and then we'll come through and I'll hit them up with some dialogue, and we'll talk about some questions that I'm sure they're going to have once you get through it.
Perfect. Okay, let me figure out how to share my screen then. Bear with me one moment. There we go. Let's share this. And let me hit play. Can you guys see my screen okay? Top 5 commercial leasing tips. All right. So what I wanted to do is I think this is a 30-minute session. I wanted to keep this as concise and as simple as possible. And then if you guys have questions and specifics that are important to you, feel free to ask them. But I try to keep it really, really simple and just top level. And then I can give you a little background on some of these too. So here is my top 5 list. I'll just get straight into it for you guys, right? If I was assuming, and I know it's not good to assume, I would think that you would expect me to jump on and start talking about all these intricacies of real estate and buildings and, shopping centers and office spaces, right? But what I did was I kind of focused on the precursor to that, right? Because what I'd like for you guys to get out of this is the preparation before you go shopping versus shopping without preparation, right? So, and I'll give you an example of how it looks to a broker or a landlord when we're done, but let me jump on number 1. Be able to fully articulate your business. So, a great example is this. I might get a beauty salon, right? And I'm out there showing the space to them and I say, tell me about your business. And it's a very open-ended question because I don't know what they do. Do they do hair and nails? Is it exclusively hair? I don't know. But when I hear the person be able to articulate their business and not stumble through it, because I'm not a high pressure guy, right? I'm not pressuring them or making them feel like they need to tell me anything. If they can articulate it, that's my first checkbox to, I think we can keep moving forward. So the number 2 one is organizing your business name in LLC and corporation. I know if you're not in business, that seems like one of the big first accomplishments, and it is, right? But what I'm looking for on my side is that the person is organized and prepared and they're ready to go. They're not kicking tires. So call it your fundamentals, right? You get the LLC, the corporation, whatever, business documents you might start to need internally, the logo, I'd love to see it when someone's already done the preparation of their logo. And if they're in a restaurant, they have their menu and all these things. And really, I don't really necessarily care as much about them on the first meeting. It's just nice to know that someone's serious and ready, So number 3 for you guys, and I know you've heard it before, but I'm going to preach it again. Write a business plan. And I'm adding at the end, with care. And the reason I put with care is because I know that probably most of the people that come to me do not have a business plan. And a large percentage of the time, the landlord and the broker don't even ask you for it. So it's almost like, hey, CJ, why are you telling me to do a business plan? And the reason I would bring it up as a main point is because when you can Google business plan or business plan for landscaping, beauty salon, there's a bunch of free general templates out there. And I actually did that when I opened my business. Okay. When I opened North American, actually before I ever opened North American, before I had my logo done, before I did anything, I actually did the business plan. And I worked through the entire thing. I picked one that I thought fit me personally online. Okay. I looked at 20, 30 of them and I picked one and I went through everything. I put North American commercial. I even made up a street on an address on Rainbow that was one of our listings at the time. And I knew that may not be the exact place that I'm located, but I want to start to work through and have that be a starting place, right? And it allowed me to mentally work through the numbers and the money and maybe that wasn't exactly what happened in real life, but that's not the point. The point is that if you do the work behind the scenes, you're going to be much more successful, right? So that's why I say write a business plan with care, because the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So moving on, number 4, get your finances in order. It sounds like, of course, right? But you'd be surprised how many people don't have their finances ordered. And so I'll give you a couple things, right? Like I had this deal come across my desk today, and I won't tell the use. I'll keep it all confidential. But they came to me, and the landlord needs a tenant. They need him. They want him, and they submitted all this good information, except their bank statement shows $6,000 in their checking account. And not that 6,000 is not a lot of money, but the way the numbers work is it's $2,500 in rent, and they got to pay a security deposit of $2,500. So before they ever even open for business, they would spend $5,000 out of the $6,000, right? And what would happen is in real life, they're going to have to pay Southwest Gas to deposit to turn on the gas, and then they're going to have to pay NV Energy a deposit, and they're going to have other costs, and that's without taking into consideration employees or LLC money or anything, right? There's all this list of expenses. So I know they don't have enough money if that's all the money they have. So I responded to the agent and I said, hey, can you ask them if they have any more money? If so, please prove it, because you're likely to get declined. And I'm a nice guy. I want to give them a chance to succeed, right? So they did have more money. They just didn't want to show it, which is oftentimes the case. People are very private about their money and their personal life, and normally you should be. But this is almost like internally, like I would call myself the financial doctor, if that makes sense. It's very normal for your real estate broker or your banker to want to look into your most secretive items, right? And the checking account and the savings account and the 401k and the stocks or whatever you have, right? So just know it's normal and comfortable. But if I had a takeaway for you, it would be to get your money in order so that when you do come to the table, you have all your ducks in a row. And my last one is the part where you almost like the race starts, right? Is start looking for commercial space. And obviously North American can help you with that. We do all product types, but if you didn't use us, you could use a broker. It typically doesn't cost you anything to use a broker to go find you a space, and you would gain the market knowledge and the expertise. So here's my analogy for you. We have the same exact license as residential realtors. So when we go to school and we got to take testing, we get the same exact state license, right? So as far as the state concerned, I'm the same as everybody else. But after that, that's where it changes. And so we're considered more of like the heart surgeon of real estate. And the person you go to when you have a heart problem is the heart doctor. Not that the general physician isn't great. They are great, and they went to medical school too, but you really want the heart doctor looking at your heart, right? So when you're looking for commercial space, that's how the commercial guy fits into it. And I didn't know any of that when I was a brand new realtor. I didn't know the difference between real estate types. I didn't know, even for everything I'm telling you guys today, I didn't know any of this. It's only through 15 years of doing real estate and investing myself that I got the investor's perspective and then the professional perspective working for people. So my last, I got 2 more things. I have a couple bonus tips for you guys, and I'm going to go through these top 5 tips on how it looks from a broker's perspective when you show up with all these ducks in a row, right? So I'll go back to the beauty salon, right? So let's say I'm out on the property and we're going to show space and it's built out as a beauty salon. And I get two different people out there. I got back-to-back showings. And the first one shows up and I'm like, hey, so thanks for coming out. Take a look. Tell me about your business. Oh, well, I was thinking about starting a beauty salon and, my sister does hair and I was thinking about doing it and stuff like that. And okay, well, good. Have you already started your business up? No, I haven't. I'm just kind of looking at it and, this looked like a pretty nice space and stuff like that, right? I won't go on, but in my mind, I see somebody that hasn't quite done the preparation. And I'll give you the second person. We could go out to show the beauty salon. Hey, tell me about your beauty salon. Hey, this is CJ's Beauty Salon. It's a new concept. I got a social media following. I have my business plan if you want to see it, but I'm ready to go. Oh, wow, you got my interest. Well, tell me about how you came up with the name, right? Like I'll get into a conversation with them just as a normal conversation would materialize, and I'll ask them about their business, right? So if they have all their stuff in a row, I start to kind of say, wow, this individual seems like they are prepared and ready to go. They're serious. When I talk to the landlord and I have to make a recommendation, because that's what we do, I would probably say, hey, you know what, this individual seems like they're a good fit. They're financially qualified. They got a business plan. I can articulate their concept to the owner. It's going to translate well. So that's my real world scenario. Last one, and I'll stop chatting, is my bonus for you guys. If you're at the pre-space stage, that means you're still in the business stage. And even though we're talking about commercial real estate and we're talking about businesses, the business side is very important to the real estate side. So here's some of these are life tips too. So my number one, no gambling. That's for casinos, right? And what I mean by that is you don't want to go out and get into some expensive space that you didn't prepare, right? I'm going to call that gambling. I didn't prepare and I'm hoping the business works out versus let me work through it mentally and let me get support from Ron or from Chris or my other influencers in my life, the people I love and trust, right? Let me get my stuff in a row so that I'm not gambling, because I'm going to say my saying is gambling's for the casinos, right? And this really has nothing to do with spending money, blackjack, none of that, right? Gambling as far as your business, right? Number two, adopt an entrepreneurial mindset. And I wish someone would have told me that. It would have kind of grabbed my attention and let me say, hey, you know what? Right now I'm an employee or I'm a new to business person or I'm an intermediate, it can be anywhere. But keeping that mindset on a daily basis is fantastic. It'll come back to serve you well. My number three, set goals, not New Year's resolutions. Goals are always something that you can measure and get help with. People can help hold you accountable, and they help you stay focused. So I love the goal side. Number four is something that Arnold said, and I don't know if you guys follow bodybuilding, but most people know who Arnold is. And one of his sayings is, your dreams don't work unless you do. And I used to listen to some audiobooks of his. I had listened to it over and over, and this was one that really stuck out. You got to be moving your feet, getting after it, putting this stuff together, doing the preparation, and that's going to get you where you're a shining star before you ever get to the real estate broker. And my last one is something that came to me from somebody that's worth almost $100 million. Okay. So for me, if you have $1 million, you got a lot of money. If you got $500,000, you got a lot of money, but 100 million is on a whole nother level. So this individual is self-made. I'll keep them private for their own confidentiality. But when they told me this individual is 78 years old right now, the individual said the number one reason why I'm successful is because I'm kind to people. And I was like, wow, out of all the things you can say, right? It wasn't because you hustled harder, you worked harder, you're smarter. He's all these things. You're charismatic, you do stuff for other people, you have good karma. I could go on and on and on and on and on, right? But him looking at 78 years backwards, he told me the number one thing you can do is be kind to people. So I think it's good advice. I try to exemplify that as a leader. I had someone call me out and tell me I'm not mean enough the other day. because they expect me as the boss to be mean and pushing people around, throwing my weight around. That's not quite my style. I actually feel pretty comfortable being nice to people, and people usually reciprocate. So anyways, I thought if someone's worth 100 million and they look back and said, hey, this is something that served me and my family well, I think it's something that I can throw in as a bonus for you, and I hope it makes your life that much better. So that's my quick presentation for you guys, and I'll hand it back over to you, Ron.
Man, all right, man, that's some good stuff there. I tell you what, let's go ahead and let's see. Have you stop sharing your screen for me? I'm gonna pull you up side by side. I'm gonna have these guys type in some questions, and I'm gonna hit you with some myself. Well, number one, I think this is important to note as I was taking notes, is that I noted that Chris started this business, a multi-million-dollar business, by not even knowing the business. But one thing I knew about Chris when we first met, this guy is a grinder and a hustler in an aspect of legally, number one. But he wasn't out there just to be out there. And when I met Chris, he was a single dad raising a young son. And so his motivation was that he had his son, and I saw him. I literally, like, we saw each other come from like nothing to be able to be where we're at right now. You know, he's buying multi-million-dollar real estate. I'm buying it's crazy because you start seeing all the stuff that we've done together. And that's why I thought it would be so important to share Chris with you guys, not just for his commercial real estate, but just also realizing that, guys, you don't have to know everything to get going. The key is just get going and jump in. You mentioned, Chris, as I was listening, that you actually started in this business not knowing about this business per se, but you actually in and you started learning, reading. And one thing I know about Chris, he is one of those guys that's going to get into whatever he's into, and he's 100% connected. And I've seen that, and I love that about him. Matter of fact, you guys don't know this, but Chris is like my accountability partner. We're actually meeting like every 2 weeks, just checking in on each other. And it's a beautiful thing when you have CEOs that are meeting with each other, that are on that next level, and we're focused on goals that are beyond. I mean, I have a big goal this year. He has a big goal this year. We're jumping into and saying, okay, how can we make this goal happen? So it's good to get around people that are on that next page that you're on or trying to get to. So that's one great thing about having a friendship or a partnership like this guy. Also, I didn't know that you mentioned get your money right. In other words, those of you that are looking to buy and purchase property, or not even purchase property, rent spaces, you got to make sure that your money is right. You can't just go in praying. I need you to have your checkbook right. Make sure you got enough backup money just in case. You know, matter of fact, Chris, I was telling you about, I just signed another lease for $8,700 a month. And so I got another one already for $6,000 a month. So trust me when I tell you, when you're signing these leases, you got to make sure you know exactly what you're going into, and also knowing what you're trying to accomplish to make these things work. Also, I mentioned that you said 15 years of experience. And so now you've actually gathered this experience after all, and you learned it as you were going, which is what I loved. Because I saw you, man. I saw your grind. I saw your hustle. I saw you out there making it happen. And we both went through our level of disappointments in different areas, especially when the market tanked and all that good stuff. But we kept on going. And I think for a lot of my guys that were on this Zoom, that's the one thing I want them to know, is that in the midst of everything that's going on, you got to keep going. You can't make excuses. You got to keep moving. The biggest thing for me, though, is that single dad thing, man. Chris, how did you pull that off, being a single parent dad and doing what you did and doing what you're doing? Now it's different, though, of course. Now you was married. But before you was in that grind, how did you make that work, man, as you were growing your business and doing what you had to do?
You know, I'll tell you guys, it wasn't easy. And in fact, most days were hard, right? You know, I know a lot of hard days in my life. But you know, the one thing I can tell you guys that helped out, and it doesn't matter whether it's business or taking care of your family, hard work is irreplaceable. Okay, so I'll go back. So Ron see this, right? Me and him will both go to work. So we're work 8-10 hours. Then we're out there with our kids, and we're not eating dinner. What were we out there, 5, 6 to 9 at night? So we're not even to homework yet. Then we get something to eat. And we would go home, we do the homework, and we would essentially sleep less, right? So is it luxurious, and is it something you would see on Instagram and pretty? Absolutely not. It's the complete opposite. But does it build character, which is essentially the component that it built, that hard work and dedication and hustle and and the struggle is what builds your character. And character is priceless, right? You can't see character online. You can't see it on Instagram. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like anything. People got to sense it and feel it from you. And it only comes from you doing the hard work behind the scenes. And so that's what it boiled down to for me: the hard work, dedication, focus, goals, right? I mentioned goals earlier. The goals: I got to feed my family. That's a want. I want to drive a Lexus. That's a need. I need to do both, right? I got to do both. So that's how I got through.
Wow, that's powerful, man. So right now, I know you can't take us around your crib, but it's like watching Yo MTV Cribs up in that joint. I can't wait to get over there.
Yes.
You built it from
Yes.
ground up, huh? Was this built, or did you actually go in and it was already done?
You know what? No, it was brand new, ground up. We were looking at a big pile of dirt. If you were a fly on the wall, you'd say these guys are out of control. They're over here looking at this dirt. We go over there. We would drive over there every week, and it took them about 8 months to start framing. Took them another 6 months. So we were about a year and a half on the build, and we were just so blessed to be able to move in and be in a comfortable home. It was 29 degrees the other night. Inside, it was a comfy 70. I'm grateful for stuff like that. Sounds very basic, but grateful to have a beautiful roof over my head.
Well, I tell you what, it's definitely beautiful. Anyway, another story. We'll talk about that. So I got a
Yeah.
couple questions coming in. One is, what are some specific things we can do to have our finances in order in preparation for securing our first commercial property? And I think the question might be is, what better question, or part of the question is, exactly what do people look like when you're renting commercial real estate for money or funds in the bank?
It's a great question. I would say common sense for me plays into it, because you got to understand, I'm a different guy than the average guy. Looks at someone when they walk up as a paycheck. I look at it as a relationship. So I'm a relationship guy, but I need to have common sense play into it. And I'll give you an example. My niece is 23 years old. Maybe 24. She's 24 years old, and she's got 4 kids. And my example has rubbed off on her, and I never knew that setting an example would benefit my family like it has. So my niece was working a job, but what she started was a side hustle. And what my niece did was she started a cupcake and baking business, and she was and still is crushing it. She sells out on a daily basis. I mean, it's crazy. And she operates it out of her house. So the first thing she did was she took action, like Ron said, got started, got a social media following. I'm not saying social media is the only way. My business is not social media, just so you guys know. But she got a social media following, and she built up her capital. So now she has capital, and she called me because she calls her uncle and she's ready to go into space, just like we're talking about today. And I said, wow, hon, you're going to need a grease trap. You need a hood. You got to build a kitchen out. It's a couple $100,000, it's a lot of money. And and when I was young, I'm looking at a couple hundred and I'm saying, wow, my jaw's dropping. How's someone get a couple hundred? Wow. I'm just trying to digest it mentally. And what she did was really smart. This story leads to common sense. She ends up going out and she says, yeah, my uncle's right. It's 200 grand. They want a deposit, contractors, the whole 9, right? And what happened is she ends up finding someone where she could sublease some kitchen space for $500 a month. She's already got her revenue stream started. So she's already cash positive, and she is now not gambling, right? She's not getting, it seems like, of course she's going to make it, right? She has the best start in this situation. If it was the opposite, right? And I'm not saying don't take action. You should take action. You just want to, it should look like you're not gambling. You are taking a risk, but it's not a bad risk. There's probability. So that's how it should look. It should look probable. Like this guy or gal is probably going to make it. And you'll feel that in your gut too. You should feel like you're kind of walking around, I got something good, you'll know it.
Yeah. And so now when it comes to hiring you to do this for us, to find the property, to negotiate the deal, what do we benefit from doing that? Or how do we benefit from making that happen?
I mean, the first thing is I stopped counting transactions after I hit about 3,000. So I don't know how many I've done. I just know it's so many. that I don't even the resume would, your eyes would be rolling, right? But what you get is experience, and there's no substitute for it. I've done everything from, I'm building a Raising Cane's right now. I have Bank of America with offers in. I have Michael's going into one of our 100, actually it's 300,000 square foot shopping center. I've done healthcare surgery center build outs. If you see it when you're driving down the street, I've probably done it. Taco Bell, Del Taco. I could go on for hours on everything, right? So what happens is with each one of these deals, you know, I get to learn the pros and the cons and the language and the deal points and what's normal. And, you know, you might say, wow, look at this. This seems pretty crazy. And I'll tell you it is. Or maybe I might tell you it's completely normal. And just having that assurance is really what you would gain.
Wow. So really, we're paying for the experience of what you've already done, and knowing too that you're actually one that's going to guide us to the right place that we need, which I know you will.
Yeah, yeah. And I've had people that come to me before. I don't represent them. I represent the landlord on some of these. But I've just told them, hey, listen, I can put you in the space, but it's not really going to be good for me or you. You might want to reconsider. And it seems crazy for me to turn someone away. I don't make any money. The landlord doesn't make any money. But I think it's ethical and it's fair because they're going to get the best shot at business. It's not gambling. But most people won't do that. That's where, again, you get something a little different with me. You get, you know, honesty, and it just goes back to serve you, you know.
Beautiful. Now, with the business plan, you mentioned that. I do have a question showing up in the chat. There actually an extent, how extensive does that plan need to be? Does it need to be 3 to 5 year projections, or how does that work? I know for me, guys, the biggest thing that's gotten me over with getting my commercial real estate is honestly my bank account. Once you can pull out a bank account and you show them that you got money, then normally all the other questions that you would think that they would ask, because Chris, I mean, let's talk about this, baby. The money matters. The money matters.
The money matters. Number one thing. Number one.
So you pull out a couple bank account statements. They're like, oh, okay, no problem. And usually a lot of that stuff, they'll be like, okay, let's get them in there as quick as we can. Then, but of course, barring that, then you got 10 improvements, which I had to do with one building. They literally had to gut the building out, redo it. I mean, when it comes to those type of things, that's stuff that the normal person doesn't know about. And that's where I believe your expertise comes in handy.
100%, 100%. It is. And just to be clear, the business plan only serves you. It's serving yourself and your probability and your confidence, because you know you did this work. You know you did the research. You know you asked who you needed to ask, right? And you're going to show up feeling confident, calm, collective, and then it's normal to feel a little anxious starting a business, right? Like I was anxious starting new because I'm putting my family on the line, right? But I was also confident because I had everything in a row. So that the business plan is for you. The bank account, you got to show it off.
Gotta be that. But now, also too, something I'm noticing more and more is the negotiation of how long the lease is. I mean, those are things that you do, correct? With the lease contains and all the different clauses, like first right of refusal. I had to do this on this deal I just did, and actually I called you and I said, hey Chris, I'm working. But the first right of refusal, to where if they want to sell the property, before they sell it, they have to go through me, give me enough time if I want to buy it. Those little things are within the contracts that most of us don't know. If you could just maybe 2 quick things that are in most real estate contracts that people don't think about until something happens.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so if I got to give you a couple ones that are top of mind, I was dealing with holdover rent today. Literally, I was training one of my new assistant managers, and she said, "What's holdover rent?" And so holdover rent is usually in our town, it's 150%. So what it means is if I had $10,000 a month rent, that's what I signed up for, and I went through my entire lease term and I didn't renew on time, that landlord can now charge me $15,000 instead of $10,000. And it sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. So your holdover, knowing what's normal, what's not, but also tracking what you're supposed to do as a business professional is another aspect of that. But that's one that's hiding in a commercial lease on almost all leases. Another one, is probably your late fee. The average commercial late fee is 10%. So I used to have an Italian restaurant that would pay late every month. Their rent was $8,000 a month. we would hit them with $800 late fee every single month. The crazy thing is they pay on the 15th. Their rent's due on the 1st. It's late after the 5th. They paid on the 15th with the $800 fee. So they literally cost themselves $800 a month. That's $9,600 a year just because they couldn't write the check by the 1st. And the landlord was happy to take the money. And it wasn't a matter whether it wanted to be nice or not. The landlord's the decision maker, right? If they say, CJ, is the management company, you charge the late fee, I got to charge it. And it's not my decision. So knowing that a 10% late fee is normal, and more importantly, understanding what a grace period is, like that you have to pay within those 5 days after the 1st or early, rent's due on or before the 1st, late after the 5th, gets you in the driver's seat so you're not spending an extra $800 a month.
Wow, those are good stuff. And I get a message that said what that percentage was again. And what percentage are we talking about? You talking about the late fee, which was, he said 10%, or is it another percentage?
I'll give you both. Holdover is 150 typically. Typical late fee is 10%.
Dude, wow. So with that being said, guys, real quick, any other questions that you guys would have? I don't want to hold CJ. I know he's a busy man out here making moves, sitting in his anyway, living his life that he's living. But it's crazy, man, how it all works out. All right, guys. Well, other than that, guys, man, tonight, I hope you got some game, some real estate stuff. CJ is going to be available for us to use. He's a part of the group. I'm definitely going to be using him more and more. And you guys are, when you call me sometimes, you ask me a question about real estate or about, hey, I'm getting into this space. This is the guy that I'm going to call. I'm going to say, hey, CJ, man, I got a situation. And I thank God he takes all my calls. It's a beautiful thing when you got people around you that know stuff that you don't know. There's no way, guys, that I can be spending right now, good Lord, like I said, anyway, I'm spending a whole lot of money in commercial property and not have a professional that actually you can call and talk to and find out exactly, hey, what about this? What about that? What about this? So CJ, man, big shout out to you. Thank you so much for being on board tonight, man. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your effort. And definitely, guys, just know that he's one of the guys that's on our squad, and we're looking forward to working with him more and more, especially as you guys develop and become what you're becoming in your business and getting spaces. Now we know that you have someone that we can reach out to. Of course, he's a busy man. So, but if you reach me first, I can get him, and we'll make sure we get you taken care of, because like I said, I appreciate you. But other than that, CJ, man, appreciate you, baby. Enjoy the rest of your night. And definitely, you are the man. And thank you for being a part of this.
Thanks for having me, and thank you guys for listening in tonight.
All right, man. Well, you take care. If you guys understand, I'm gonna wrap this up real quick and let these guys know what the biggest is don't go it alone. In other words, guys, do not try to do business by yourself you don't have to do that. Not with this group. Thanks, CJ. Appreciate you, baby. And of course, you guys know all the list of things that we offer within our network. We're excited to help you at any time, any point. Of course, you guys know what it is. This is the first of the month. That's that song. This is the first of the month. Get your checks and come on. But other than that, guys, we want to make sure you get on board. Make sure you know that, of course, with value that's given, we receive value back. Some of you guys, I want you this year to purpose in your heart. You got to do the one-on-one. The one-on-one with me. Every single week, we check in with you, make sure you're doing what you need to get done, and I guarantee you success to move your business further, faster. And of course, if you're a new business getting started, we have an all-in-one package that covers everything you would need to get your business up and off the ground within 30 days. All right, guys, you be blessed. I want to thank all the new people for checking in, tuning in tonight. I hope you found some value. Richard, great to see you out there in Arizona, man. Good to see you in the house. How's everything, man? Everything good out there?
Yeah, it's been pretty good, actually.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I definitely want you to come and be a part next week. We're actually going to tap into a few more things, and I want to dive in to see exactly for a few moments at the end what we can do to help you to make sure we get you in the right direction. I think you're already moving, but hey, it's time to move a little faster. Move a little faster. All right. All right, guys. Well, guys, bless you. You guys have a great night. Troy, good to see you tonight, my friend. Miss Sharia, good to see you. Ronnie, good to see you. Tiffany, good to see you. Gloria, good to see you guys. Great being a part. Thank you so much for joining the Zoom. You guys enjoy your rest of your evening, and I will see you next week, 6 o'clock. We're going to be right here. I might have another surprise guest too. But other than that, guys, see you then. Be great. Love you guys.